Research. Okay. Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Blowing Bubbles podcast. I am your host, Karana Hosey, and I have the beautiful, talented NaQuasha Lewis in the house today. How are you,
I
sweetheart?
am great. Thank you for having
Thank you for being here.
me.
Man, you are incredible. I'm gonna read just a little bit of your bio before we get into it because these people need to know you have a story to tell. You are an actress. She a Leo, y'all. We're not gonna hold that against her. You know, your birthday July 26th, so it's not like you're an August Leo, but I'm just kidding, y'all. I don't do that, but I'm kidding. All right, but you're from the Bronx, originally from the Bronx, New York.
Yeah.
Oh man, you're an actress. You relocated to Richmond, Virginia. But then when you were 15 years old, you went through a series, not just one, a series of traumatic events.
Yeah.
So I want to pinpoint right there. I want to stick a pin right there. Talk about the series of traumatic events.
um, I was being a teenager. I started hanging around with the wrong crowd, started skipping school. Then I got in trouble. Me and my sister, we got in trouble for truancy. And then eventually we got taken away and put in foster care.
Mm.
And while before we got put into foster care, we got put in a transitional shelter for kids. Um, and while at this transitional shelter, I got a phone call from my little brother, and he told me there was this little boy in the neighborhood that kept picking on him. So, you know, the obvious thing to do, you want to protect, your siblings. So
Pull
I
up.
told him, yeah, I told him, being that I couldn't be there, the best advice that I could give him at that age was to defend himself. I'm like,
Mhm.
you have to defend yourself. You have to stand up because they're gonna keep picking on you. If
Right.
you don't go crazy on them one good time, they're gonna keep on bullying you.
Mhm.
So then the next time I kept trying to call the house, nobody was answering, and this went on for days. And I was getting worried, and finally I got through to my grandmother, and she told me my little brother was in the hospital. She told me that he had wound up fighting a little boy in the neighborhood, and he wound up winning. But the little boy's father came out with a knife, and he wound up stabbing my brother. And one of my friends in the neighborhood, a female friend of mine that was in the neighborhood, trying to protect him. So um my brother, he almost lost his life. Um, he was in the hospital for a while. He got stabbed, and
And
then
how old was your brother at the time?
let's see. When you get older, you got to start thinking.
Carry the one.
Let's see. I'm 30. um, he is. He's about 7.5, 8 years younger than me.
Okay.
So I was 15, 14, 13, 12.
So he might have been like 7.
So he was like 7,
Wait
8.
a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Did you just tell us a grown man stabbed your 7-year-old brother and a neighborhood friend?
Yeah. Yeah, my friend Monique at the time. Mhm.
Okay. Okay. That's extreme. Because I'm trying to imagine the world where a grown man needs a weapon for a 7-year-old. I'm at a loss, and I got words for days.
I know it was
I
on the
lost words.
news at the time. He claimed because he saw a group of children outside that he felt threatened. That's what he told the police.
Second graders. You a next level
Mhm.
punk. I'm gonna say that on the record. You a next level punk. I'll probably chin check you. Who's okay? Let me blow bubbles because I just got irritated right there. And I have been that mother that's like, I don't care. You mess with my baby, 8 to 80, I'm giving it to him. But stabbing a child, I can't even. Okay, so thank God your brother survived. What was that the last event in the series of traumatic events?
So unfortunately, I was a part of a family who was in substance abuse at the time. And I will say that the people that they were then, they are completely different now. That's not who they
I
are
can
now. But
relate.
back then,
Yes.
they were, unfortunately, they went through some traumatic things themselves, and they unfortunately did succumb to substance abuse. So that was the final straw that wound up taking us away and separating us. So me and my sister, that she's a year and a month under me, we stayed together in a home.
Okay.
And then after my little brother got out the hospital, he went in a different home. And then my little sister, she went into a different home. So we were all split up. And then my baby sister, before they could take her, my mom gave her to my cousin.
Oh,
To,
so 5 children,
mhm,
pretty much all scattered. The two of you older children together.
mhm.
Wow. Um. Now, was your father in the picture?
No, he was when I was younger, and then um, him and my mom were having their issues. So her rationale was that he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do, so she was gonna shield me from that. So, and then you know, her mindset was that he could have fought harder to get himself together or do whatever and to get me, but he didn't. He wasn't. So she kept me, from we moved to a whole we moved from New York to Virginia. So once we did that, I completely lost contact. Prior to that, I was going with my father on the weekends.
Okay. Now, how many of your siblings have the same dad? Are you the only
So
one
I'm
with
the only
him?
one that has my father,
Okay.
and then
So that's a whole different level of segregation
yeah.
amongst siblings. Wow. And what's your relationship like with your father now?
Me and my father, we're good now. We're in a much better place. When I was 18, I just started longing for a part of me that was missing. So I paid to have a search done, and I wound up finding him. And I was reaching out. I was leaving phone messages on the answer machine, the number that I had found when I did a search, and he finally wound up calling back.
Okay.
So then we scheduled a meeting, and I drove from Virginia to Georgia, and I've wound up finding him, and we've been in
Wow.
contact ever since.
I love that. I love that. Now, how about your mother?
My mother, me and her, we are close now.
That's good.
So
Love that.
we are close, but we're like two peas in a pod. So we are very our attitudes are very much similar. So when you dealing with two strong, personalities, sometimes it can be a little bit challenging. But where we are now, I feel like we're more like, we're more like friends.
That's good. That's good.
That's
Okay.
good.
Now, how has your upbringing impacted you as a mother?
My upbringing, so when I was younger, it was a different time and a different age. So I got scolded every time I did something wrong or that was perceived as being wrong or acting out. I got scolded. So when I became a mother, I didn't want to really beat on my child, because I remember what that was like for me. So, and it's it's a learning curve, because it's like
For sure.
you don't really know how to handle certain situations. You just go through the best way you can. So I say that because sometimes it works, and sometimes it's like, okay, and now I know why I got these whippings, because this day and age you need it, or you gonna go out here and be crazy. So
I just told my mother maybe 3 or 4 days ago. I said the older I get, the smarter my parents get. Because now a lot of stuff makes sense that they told me and they did. I'm like, Oh, my parents' voices, especially my mother, get louder and louder in my head every day. Like, oh, I remember that. Okay. So stick around, listen to your parents. I'm telling you, they're not absolutely crazy. Some of the stuff they say makes sense, and it's
Yeah.
for a reason. Now, how many kids do you have?
One.
Okay, you said one and done.
I say that, but it's crazy because I want 4 more.
Okay.
I'm just waiting on, the good Lord to bring my husband. Right now he's fixing us individually. And then
Period.
when we're
Listen,
done, yeah, when we are done, then I know God is gonna, connect it, and it's gonna be an
y'all heard
unstoppable
what she
force.
said. So get that 50-50 mindset and throw it in the ocean, okay? Throw it in the sea of forgetfulness. Because if she brings 100% of her healed self and her future husband brings 100% of his healed self, now they have two whole people. That's powerhouse. When you got a broken person bringing 50% and another broken person bringing 50%, that's
I blow bubbles
cycle
to
of
that.
toxicity. I'm only talking what I know.
Because ultimately, I believe you attract the person that you are at this stage.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we want to think that we're good.
Yeah,
We
I feel like if I want a man who's this, and that, then I look at where I am in life, and it's like, okay, I'm not where I
do
want
you
to
meet
be
your own
at.
requirements?
That's why I'm steady working
I
on
want a
myself.
man to be 6'4" and 6 figures and baby, but you work at Chick-fil-A 3 days a week. Stop it. Yes. Shout out to the people who do work fast food. If that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. But listen,
Even if you work in those type of environments, as long as you have ambition, so that's not
yes,
your resting place, that's not your final stopping place. You
yeah,
have the ambition that's gonna, make you go after a dream or something that's gonna pull you out of there. That's not gonna be your final
right.
destination.
And if you have aspirations to marry a successful man, you think how is he taking you to his company outings? You have no experience to compliment him. You have to compliment the person that you want. Man, I ain't even think about going down this. Girl, don't get me started on relationships now. Ooh,
That's the whole word.
for real, for real. Like you gotta be. Here's my favorite one. People always talking about where's my Boaz, baby. You ain't Ruth.
Okay.
Come on now, you better read the word and know what she did. You know what Ruth went through. Ooh, don't get me started. What you done did to me today?
This is the topic where you can go on and on because it's
Yes,
preaching to the
yes.
choir.
Yeah, and I learned a lot of things by just being introspective, checking myself. Like, Karana, are you really? Are you about that? You want that, but are you about it? Just being honest with yourself can solve so many things. So many things. That's how. Let me do this little shameless plug. That's how I came up with my book Residue,
Okay.
because I looked at the things that I thought that I had dealt with in myself, incidents that I had experienced, my own traumatic events that were still blocking me from being the best version of me. And one day, I'm a neat freak, right? And I went to Fort Lauderdale for a funeral. And immediately when I travel, I come home and I put everything away. Suitcase gets put away, clean, clothes go wherever, everything goes where it's supposed to go. The last 2 days I was in Florida, I swam in the ocean. This was January 2023. I was mesmerized, first of all, because it was January and it was warm enough in Florida to swim in the ocean. So I came home tired and I left my suitcase at the foot of my bed. The next morning, I wake up to go to the bathroom and I tripped over that suitcase. I get in the bathroom and I bust out laughing. I said, "What other baggage you tripping over?"
Mm. Wow.
I
Wow.
started writing the book that day.
Wow.
So just being disciplined enough to recognize what's messed up in yourself and not always being a finger pointer. And I had to really go deep. I had to go back to 6-year-old Karana, like the first trauma that I remember experiencing. And I wanted to clean it all up. I didn't want anything because there were still triggers that I would experience. I'm in my 50s now. So going back to that, whoo, it took a lot out of me. I wrote the first chapter that same day. I couldn't touch it for 3 months because I really had to go to some dark places. And it helped me to now, like I can almost self-diagnose any other thing, like, oh, that's that, there it is. But it took me to do the work. And I try to encourage people so often, just do the work, make sure, because nobody knows you like you know you, and nobody can invalidate your experiences and your feelings. So, but you have to reconcile with those feelings. And your feelings also, even if they're valid, they don't necessarily justify your actions. Now you acting jacked up. We understand you went through something, but don't think you can just treat people any kind of way because you've been through something. You don't get that either. So, so I had to deal with all of this, and I don't even know how I got on all this, but yes, going through things, looking at myself, and that's where we were at. We talking about dating and everything. When you are the epitome of your own requirements, just because even if you got a good career, you can be a boss and you can still be jacked up on the inside.
Oh yeah. Money doesn't equate to
It's
everything.
a whole lot of, and Atlanta is full of very successful women who are super single. Super single because they got to do that inner work.
Yeah.
Go back and go hug that little girl. I had to tuck 6-year-old Karana in for a good night's sleep for the first time in over 4 decades. She had never been able to rest. So when you find that thing, then you can start becoming who you were created to be. And man, I don't even know why I'm trying to not make any of this about me, but I really believe that somebody might need this because everybody didn't buy the book. We know that everybody did
It's
not
still
buy
time.
It's still time. It's on Amazon. Just put my name in it. Residue. Find your residue.
Yeah.
But yes, I really believe that we have the capacity. God made us self-healing organisms. That's mental, physical, spiritual. Sometimes we do need a practitioner, but he made us to heal ourselves. So I did the work, and my God, you can too.
Yes, I feel like the first step is identifying what the issue is. And I
That's
know
that.
for me, I have this savior complex. I wanna help everybody. I wanna, and
That's my sister.
yeah, and like you can't do that because when you keep on pouring out of your cup into others, filling others up, at some point your cup is gonna run dry, and you have to
Absolutely.
have a support system. You have to have somebody who's
Replenish.
replenishing and pouring back into you.
Yes.
So that's one of my issues, and sometimes I fight to be seen because there was a period of time where I felt unseen.
Okay.
And
You're a middle child, aren't you?
no, actually I'm the oldest.
Are you?
But
Okay.
I suffered.
Oh, that's
because,
right. Your sister is a month and a year younger.
Yeah, I
Okay.
suffered because growing up I dealt with a lot of favoritism. And granted, the people who were doing it, they didn't feel like they were doing it. But as a child, it's a lot of things you notice. You're like, so.
Do you attribute that to you having a different dad?
Yeah.
I've seen that. My siblings and I all had the same dad, but I've had friends and I saw that. Does it kind of still linger in the family? Like the favoritism is still there?
Yeah, it's gotten a lot better now that I've brought it to the forefront, because ultimately if you don't let somebody know when something's bothering you,
let's blow bubbles on that. Because she said something super important. You have to tell people how they make you feel, what you're thinking. Sometimes things are subconscious. Sometimes people are just being malicious, but sometimes it could just be this little thing. They don't even understand why they act the way that they act. So you have to feel comfortable enough to tell people, you know what, that hurt my feelings. You know, when you do that and you do it often, it's not just a one time thing. So be comfortable letting people know how they make you feel. I commend you for that. You know, a lot of people, I'm such a dual person. Like, on one hand, I'm a warrior, I'm a beast. You better not play with me. But on the other hand, I let a lot of stuff slide. And I haven't always been outwardly vocal. I have to get mad before
Oh, that's
I,
me. And when I get mad, it's like, ooh, a lion
raw.
a lion come out.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I applaud you for saying that. And oftentimes, those closest to us, we really let them slide on a lot. So, you know, take a lesson from sis here. You
Yeah,
know,
for
speak
years,
speak your mind.
I fought, wanting to make people proud. Wanting the people to see me. Because of
Mhm.
that favoritism. That really it was a real trigger for me. I was fighting to be seen. I was fighting to prove that I was good enough. I just wanted to be recognized. I wanted to be loved. Equally.
Now, how do you see yourself now? Do you what I'm feeling is you were still seeking external validation. Have you validated you yet? Mm, okay.
Nope, I still
So we got some work to do.
yeah, I still fighting internally, trying to prove to myself that I'm good enough,
Mm.
that I have what it takes.
Just know you're good enough because God said you're good enough. You just have to believe it. It's literally that simple. Other folks, you be waiting till Jesus come for them to validate you. But once you believe it, even if they give you whatever you're looking for from them, if you don't believe it in yourself, you'll still always be searching, and there will still be a void in you. Um, I can't wait till that when that lioness wakes up, honey. Ooh, we listen. I can't wait because you already have a presence. You already your energy and your aura is so powerful. But when she wakes up, watch out, world. NaQuasha Lewis is taking over. I'm telling you, y'all heard it here first. Woo! Ooh, so man, this we have just been all over the place. So, what are you working on?
Right now, since relocating from Virginia to Atlanta, I've just been pursuing my acting career. I've been fortunate enough to get booked with a few things.
Come on,
Currently,
books.
yes, I'm starring as one of the leads in a film called The Untold Secrets of a Plus Size Diva, and it's premiering October the 16th at the Landmark Theater here in Atlanta. And then we have Montgomery, Alabama premiere November the 16th. So yes,
Okay.
it was a phenomenal cast. Um, the writer Sylvia Wilson, she wrote. I will give her credit when it's due. She wrote a powerful piece. Um, uh, and Nini Capri helped direct it, and I just it gave me the opportunity to gain a sisterhood because
Mm.
I wind up connecting with people on that set, and it's just been life changing, and I feel like the universe, God, connected us.
Mhm.
If my sole purpose booking that role was to come out gaining a sisterhood, I know I attribute that to God, because He
Yeah,
moves in such a way to connect pieces of a puzzle,
for sure.
and I'm grateful because I have connected and gained a sisterhood, and um that pushes me, to my best self. Sometimes I'm not as vocal
Mm.
as I'd like to be. I sit on a lot, even when I am unable to, or not unable to, when I don't want to speak on certain things. I'm the type of person, I don't like to argue. I don't like drama. And when you see me, it's like you poking the hornet's nest. It takes me a lot. It takes me a lot to get me to that point. But when I do,
watch out.
I'm nasty.
Yeah.
And I try to, being that I know that and I am aware of that for myself, I do try to, keep that at bay and try to keep myself out of certain situations, because I don't like that side of myself that comes out.
Yeah.
And it's hard to keep that person at bay.
And it's hard to put it back once.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm grateful for the people that I'm surrounded by now that can kind of help me keep that at bay and also uplift me to the version of myself, that I haven't tapped into yet.
Yeah.
That they see something in me that it's like I know was there, but I didn't necessarily have the courage at the time to go, pursue it at that time. So it's like a candle wick. That wick is already be there, but when you get surrounded, when you're a flame, you're a light, and you get surrounded by other flames, they ignite that wick that's already been there, and it brings out the best light in you. And I'm grateful that I've been able to, gain that where I am now in life. And
that's beautiful.
Yes, and
let me say this. Let me interrupt you real quick. First of all, where you're at in that sisterhood is a great place for you. Your posture changed, your voice changed, your face changed. You need that. That's your tribe. Stick with that and keep growing and elevating from there. I'm telling you, and then like just the way you were talking changed. I watched you just morph just like that. So that's a good launch pad for you. That's a good launch pad. Shout out to the sisters of the untold stories of a plus size diva. Man, if y'all don't go see this thing, and many of us, you don't have to be what is considered plus size to go through body issues, body image issues. I've had it for many, many, many years. I used to be real muscular, and I would get called a dude a lot. And I have food allergies. I would be told, you only so thin because you can't eat nothing. And you catch me on the right day, my clapback is strong. Nah, I said I got words. Yeah, so I come at you now.
Right. And I feel like the sweetest people in the world, they have that duality.
Yes.
Where although there's you can't imagine anybody being more sweet. That duality is just as vicious. If you push that button, it can be just as vicious. And that's me. Like I'm very nurturing. I'm very loving. I try to pour into my friends. I try to be genuine. I try to be loyal. But if I feel like I'm being used, if I feel like I'm being taken advantage of, it brings out a different side of me that I do not like, and I become just the opposite. I become just the opposite. So if you will encounter people who tell you I'm the sweetest person in the world, and you will also encounter people that'll tell you I'm mean and I'm nasty as hell. Believe them both.
I was gonna say they both tell the truth. I will walk through fire and save the life of a stranger, but I will also throw you in the fire.
Oh yes. And act like I ain't scared.
Yes. Oh man, this has been such a pleasure. Tell the people where they can find you, follow you, support you on your socials.
Yes, you can find me at Quay_on_demand on Instagram. And I'm newly on TikTok. Hey _ it's ITZ_Quay QUA. And follow me. I'm on a journey, and I have some things under my belt that I'm about to pop out with, and it's gonna, shock the world. So I'm excited.
She popping out. Yes. Listen, this has been amazing. I love my conversations, because in case you can't tell, they're all freestyle. I just met this queen today. So nothing is rehearsed or planned. I can't wait to see her elevate. I just saw you morph right in front of my eyes. So when it's intentional, baby, I already know the transformation is real. Yes, oh my goodness. Well, Make sure you all follow her. Make sure you all support. Be on the lookout if you're in Atlanta. Get yourself to that premiere, okay? I will be there if I'm in town. I think I'm in town that weekend.
Yes,
Make
it's a
sure you be
Wednesday.
there. It's a Wednesday. Okay.
And grab her book because it's still time. It is still time.
That is never going away. Amazon and even my website, residuebook.com. Go ahead.
Say it
Go
again for the
ahead.
people who didn't hear.
Residuebook.com. Hey, ho. I'm not even mad. Y'all can go to Amazon because I don't want to go to the post office and mail. Nobody wants it.
Yes, they do drop shipping. So convenient,
Yes.
delivered to right in front of your doorstep.
Bam.
It's a life changing book. I can feel it just by
Yes.
this conversation that I had with her. I'm gonna have to get the book.
Thank you. So we're gonna wrap it up. You all make sure you are intentional about making somebody smile. You never know what you are pouring into somebody. Be who you want in someone else. Be that person. If you are always feeling like people just take from you, don't be afraid to continue having that service heart and continue to give because your right people will come to you and then you're going to have your tribe who's going to elevate you and make you transform and you don't even recognize it. Okay, keep on striving, keep making an impact, and guess what else you need to do? Stay popping.